Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call to order this Tuesday, April 25th, 2023 meeting of the Pierce County Council. It is 3:01 p.m. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Councilmember Campbell.
Here.
Councilmember Kluber.
Here.
Councilmember Denson.
Here.
Councilmember Herrera.
Here.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Here.
Councilmember Morrell.
Here.
Councilmember Mello.
Here.
Thank you. There are some members present, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have all members present today. Item number 3 is the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I'm going to ask Councilmember Morrell to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, followed by a moment of silence in tribute to our men and women in the military serving overseas.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 is approval of our agenda. Is there any objection to approving our agenda as published? Not seeing any, our agenda will stand approved. That brings us to section 5. Councilmember Morrell for a motion, and I will note, Councilmember Morrell, that we have the appointee here in section C1 is on Zoom with us. Councilmember Morrell for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we approve today's consent agenda, moving C1, proposal number R 2023-51 to section 7.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda, with the exception of moving the item C1 to section 7 of our agenda. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Kluber.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Excuse me. Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the consent agenda is adopted. Section 6, messages from the executive, judges, or prosecuting attorney. There are none today. That does bring us to section 7. And we have proposal R 2023-51 before us. Councilmember Kluber for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move R 2023-51.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 2023-51. Madam Clerk, please read the title into the record.
Excuse me. Proposal number R 2023-51, a resolution of the Pierce County Council confirming the appointment of one new member, Christopher Carbod, to the Pierce County Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. Sorry about the name pronunciation.
Thank you. Is it Christophe Chabad? Please excuse me and us if we are mispronouncing your name, but welcome. We were able to review your written materials that are in the council packet, and we welcome you, and we would hand it over to you for some brief introduction and reason why you want to serve.
Hi, good afternoon all. Thank you very much for the opportunity here. Yes, very pleased to virtually meet you all, and pleased that the resolution on the agenda is seemingly moving along here. I'm the general manager at the Silver Cloud Hotel down in Point Ruston, and I had the opportunity to be part of the community since we were in pre-opening mode, and I've been now on site for the past couple of years, and I've been with the company for over almost 4 years now. So the opportunity, when it was presented to me, to be able to be part of that committee there, is to be able to continue to hopefully hear all the concerns that there are in the community, how we can best assist with that and provide some inputs all together with the rest of the group. I've been in the hospitality business and the hotel industry, more specifically for the past 20 plus years in different areas of the country. And more particularly, I've been back in Washington State on this side for the past 7 years now. So I always like to lean into the community and be able to listen to what opportunities we have to be able to develop and hopefully contribute to the greater good of it. So that's what I'm looking forward to be able to do.
Thank you for being with us. Are there any questions for Mr. Chabad before we open this up for a public hearing? Not seeing any. Is there anyone here in chambers wishing to provide comment on Resolution 2023-51? Not seeing any. Ms. Persons, anyone online?
For any member of the public wishing to make public comment, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad.
We'll close the, seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Are there any final remarks by council members? Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say thank you so much for stepping up for this. When I looked at your paperwork, I'm like, oh my goodness, where did we find you? And it was quite expansive, and you've done so much, and I really look forward to working with you and learning from you on the LTAC committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Krueger. I would just add, thank you for being involved in our community in this way and many other ways. You run a great operation down there at Point Ruston. Many of us have had several opportunities to see your leadership in action and benefit from the great hospitality of your team there. So thank you for doing business in Tacoma and Pierce County and sharing your strengths as a business leader on our Pierce County Lodging Tax Advisory Committee so we can make more investments for tourism. We appreciate it. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on Resolution 2023-51?
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. That brings us to the other items here in Section 7, proclamations, awards, and other appointments to boards and commissions. Item number 1 is proposal number R 2023-53. Councilmember Hitchin for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move adoption of R 2023-53.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 2023-53. Madam Clerk, will you please read the title into the record?
Proposal number R 2023-53, a resolution of the Pierce County Council proclaiming April 26, 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Day in Pierce County, Washington.
Thank you. Councilmember Hitchin to read this into the record.
Thank you, Chair. Whereas domestic violence is a pattern of behavior used by one individual to establish and maintain power and control over another, which shatters lives, robs children of their innocence, and affects everyone regardless of race, income, or age in every community. And whereas the Crystal Judson Family Justice Center is funded and operated jointly by Pierce County and the City of Tacoma and features an easy, navigable style of service delivery that brings together partners from the community and from the government, including Catherine Place, City of Tacoma Neighborhood and Community Services, Day One Washington, Department of Child Support, Department of Social and Health Services, Fort Lewis Family Advocacy Program, Good Samaritan Behavioral Health, Kindred Souls, Korea Women's Association, Me Centro, Our Sister's House, Pacific Lutheran University, Pierce County Sheriff's Department, Pierce County Superior Court Clerk's Office, Rebuilding Hope SACPC, Washington Trafficking Prevention, Tacoma Police Department, Pierce County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, University of Washington Tacoma, Accountable Communities of Health, Alliance for Hope International, Community Healthcare, Furcrest Police Department, Lakewood Police Department, University Police Department, Lakewood City Attorney, Milton Police Department, Pierce County Animal Control, Tacoma Animal Control, Tacoma Family Medicine, Washington State Coalition Against Domestic Violence, Tacoma Pro Bono to assist victims of domestic violence, and the Puyallup Tribe of Indians Community Domestic Violence Advocacy Program. And whereas Pierce County has many organizations that support and are resources to victims of domestic violence, including but not limited to Associated Ministries, the YWCA, Family Renewal Shelter, Tacoma Community House, Greater Lakes Mental Health, and the Salvation Army. And whereas April is nationally recognized as both Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Child Abuse Prevention Month, and the tireless work of the Crystal Family Justice Center and its partners to marshal resources and provide critical services to the victims of these heinous crimes as an immeasurable benefit to the community. And whereas in 2022, the Crystal Judson Family Justice Center provided no-cost services, including victim advocacy, safety planning, electronic filing for temporary protection orders, criminal and civil legal services, housing, emergency assistance, and chaplaincy services to victims, supporting 1,321 survivors, providing real-time support to 7,816 calls on the domestic violence helpline, and providing proactive outreach to 2,095 times to victims. And whereas, as we work to honor Crystal's memory daily, we take this day in April to recommit ourselves to providing quality service to our community and recognize that stopping domestic violence is everyone's responsibility. And community members needing support can reach the 24-hour National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-7233. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Pierce County Council that April 26, 2023 is Domestic Violence Awareness Day in Pierce County, Washington, and all residents are encouraged to dedicate themselves to domestic violence prevention and join this observance, adopted this 25th day of April 2023. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Hitchin. And I apologize, but I am not sure who I am inviting to the podium.
Nadia.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Hitchin, would you like to do the introduction of our guest?
Thank you. Yes, Nadia is here. She is, your new title, I want to say Deputy Director?
Assistant Director.
Assistant Director of the Crystal Judson Family Justice Center, and she's going to help us with her last name.
My name, Nadia Van Adder.
There we go.
Nadia, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so grateful that you've made time to be with us and everything that you do. Please say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Hitchin, for the introduction. And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Chair and to the Council for your continued support of proclaiming April 26th Domestic Violence Awareness Day. This April 26th marks the tragic anniversary of Crystal's murder. And what this does is this gives us every year the ability to remember her and all of those who've been lost at the hands of someone who claims to have loved them. But it also gives us the chance to recommit to the work that we do and support of survivors. We are thankful for our continued support from the council, and I would like to specifically thank our council members that are on our board, our Vice Chair, Councilmember Hitchin, and Councilmember Campbell. And I would also like to thank our amazing team and partners. The work that we do cannot be done without the work of the advocates at the center, but also all of our partners. Partnership and collaboration is the cornerstone of what we do, and that gives us the ability to continue to support survivors in the best way possible. So again, I truly thank you for your time and for you continuing to recommit April 26th. Domestic violence and gender-based violence is something that impacts us as an entire community, and as a community, we need to make sure that we are continuing to support survivors that have experienced this crime and who have experienced this. So thank you again for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Nadia. We're going to open this up for a public hearing and then do final remarks and finally recognize the resolution. So thank you for those remarks. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in chambers wishing to provide comment on this proclamation? Not seeing any missed persons. Anyone online?
For any member of the public wishing to make public comment, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Are there any final remarks by council members? Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to, Nadia, right? Nadia, thanks for coming. And I want to thank the council for recognizing this today. You know, before I became council member, I've seen, as a police officer, I've seen the effects of what domestic violence does. And I've seen the change in attitude. When I first came on, there was some old timers who maybe did 20 years before that, where they talked about where these type of incidents were family problems. You know, we've come a long way in recognizing the tragedies that these incidents happen. Most definitely the tough domestic violent laws were there for a reason, because in my experience, domestic violence starts small and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And we got to stop it immediately. Also, having the recognition of what the services are out there is important, and a responsibility, I think, to all of us to know those and have those in our back pocket for someone that we may know. We may call you at 1 o'clock in the morning. A lot of people don't know where to go for something like this. So thank you for the work that you do. I'm really interested. I haven't had time to really come down and see the work you do, because I always saw the front end and the tragedy of it. I'd like to see the healing part of it more, and I appreciate what you do, and I thank the council and encourage this to pass. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Herrera. Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. I truly appreciate the time to say anything where we can raise awareness around this. I'm going to call out 2 events that are coming up. We will also have a domestic violence, gender-based violence awareness month, so this will come back around. This day is set aside specifically because of the tragedy that happened in Pierce County, in case anyone's like, why are we doing this again? Plus, it happens all the time. So continuing to remind people that there are resources out there, and sometimes it takes the friend to nudge somebody. Maybe you do a little sleuthing on your own and reach out on behalf of friends, but there's comfort in knowing that there is resources here in Pierce County and that we have people available, including if you struggle with languages. We now are continuing to grow access to someone who you can actually talk to, a person that lives here remotely via Zoom to help with language issues if there's barriers there. The second thing is we are actually hosting a domestic violence summit. I don't know if it's the first one. It's definitely the first one that I've been here. The pandemic got in the way of pretty much everything. But Mi Centro, one of our newer agencies that's really doing some phenomenal work, is hosting a live in-person Breaking Barriers conference. And it's really about how do we break down some of the barriers that are out there to people accessing services, things that get in the way of being able to report this crime, access the services that you need to get out of an unsafe situation, or just to learn how to help yourself. And that is May 31st to June 2nd. 3 days. They're being really ambitious. Super excited, but it's here in downtown Tacoma. And if you just look up Mi Centro, which is M-I Centro, C-E-N-T-R-O, you should be able to find it. It's here locally, and they've got a website, and they are very excited about this. And that long list of partners, that's the audience. That's who we're trying to get there, but others are welcome as well. And so if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to my office or contact Mi Centro directly. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Hitchin. Councilmember Cruver.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the work that you do. You're in the line of business that we hope to shut down because we don't need it anymore. And I've had a part of my past where I didn't need the kind of services you did, but I understand the fear that can go through someone, particularly a woman who is much smaller than a man. And it's always nice to know there is someone that you can call and someone to get help for. So thank you for what you do, the things that you have to see and live with and don't want to, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Cruver. In closing, this is an annual proclamation that Pierce County does together with the city of Tacoma, as it was noted, to mention the very tragic day the then Tacoma police chief murdered his wife in a Gig Harbor parking lot, Crystal Judson. And every year since, a lot has changed. We've not only do we read and take this time to reflect on a proclamation that we both do jointly annually, but we've stood up the Crystal Judson Center. We continue to invest in redesign the services to be culturally competent and effective, and we continue to evolve in that work to be effective and culturally competent. It's a really somber day to bring this forward, right? And but to have an opportunity to reflect and recommit, as Nadia reminded us. I did note when, preparing for the meeting, I said, wow, Councilmember Hitchen, that's one of the longest paragraphs I've seen in a proclamation. But for good reason. As noted, there are many, many, many partners doing this work in collaboration with keystone agencies like the Crystal Judson Center, the YWCA of Tacoma Pierce County, and others. So thank you especially to Councilmembers Hitchen and Campbell, who give of so much of their time and leadership to be our representatives on the Crystal Judson Board of Directors, and all the other things they do in this important space. This is a really important work, and I know many of us are really, really clued in to how do we break the cycles of violence? How do we get at children who are experiencing this kind of trauma, so that they don't learn that this kind of behavior is normal? It's absolutely not normal. It's not acceptable. And we must stop the cycles of domestic violence. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchen.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger. Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the proclamation is adopted. Please join me in a round of applause. Nadia, we're going to invite you. Thank you. We're inviting Nadia up to take a photo. I turned my microphone off. We have proposal R 2023-54 in front of us. Councilmember Herrera for a motion.
I move proposal, just like you said, R 2023-54 for approval.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt R 2023-54. Madam Clerk, will you please read the title into the record?
Proposal number R 2023-54, a resolution of the Pierce County Council proclaiming the week of April 30th through May 6, 2023 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week in Pierce County, Washington. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Herrera.
A resolution of the Pierce County Council proclaiming the week of April 30th through May 6, 2023 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week in Pierce County, Washington. Whereas 2023 marks the 54th anniversary of the International Institute of Municipal Clerks initiation of Professional Municipal Clerks Week, recognizing the important roles of these dedicated public servants. And whereas municipal clerks represent a time-honored and vital role in government among public servants and exist throughout the world to provide a professional link between residents and local governments and agencies of the government at many levels. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful with their neutrality and impartiality, rendering quality and equal service to all. And whereas municipal clerks continue to strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the government through participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, County and international professional organizations. And whereas the Pierce County Council greatly appreciates the professionalism and expertise of 7 dedicated clerks in the County Council office: Denise Johnson, Linda Medley, Patty Face, Priscilla Martinez Mejia, Andrea Pearsons, Brianna Price, and Alicia Tillman. And whereas it's most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments and value of the contributions and service of the clerks of the Pierce County Council. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Pierce County Council that the week of April 30th through May 6, 2023 is Professional Municipal Clerks Week in Pierce County. We extend our appreciation to the clerks of the Pierce County Council and to have many other municipal clerks in the Pierce County for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they serve. Adopted this 25th day of April 2023, Pierce County Council.
Thank you, Councilmember Herrera. Is there anyone in chambers, we're opening up a public hearing on this proclamation. Is there anyone in chambers wishing to provide comment on this proclamation? Not seeing any. I hate to ask you, Ms. Persons, we were trying to recognize you, and then we're also asking you to work at the same time on your own proclamation, but will you please help me open the public hearing online?
Absolutely. For any member of the public wishing to make public comment, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. Not seeing any.
We'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Are there final remarks by council members? Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. Before I got here, I had no idea how much work that all the clerks put into making our lives easier here, and I really appreciate the good mornings, no matter what, if it's good or not, raining, sun shining, you get that right when you come in here, and the wonderful smiles as you come in the door, and the professional work that you do, and the professional attitudes that you continue to do to make it for some of the tough days that we have to deal with. You guys make it better. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the work that you do. It's very important, not just here in Pierce County, but throughout any government organization here in Pierce County. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Denton.
Yes, thank you so much. I will echo the thoughts of Councilmember Herrera. Being fairly new, it's been a pleasure to get to know all of you. And again, your professionalism is amazing, and your calm in the face sometimes of technology issues we've had, or surprises that happen during meetings. You all are just so level and professional and keep things operating. And we couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much for all of your hard work.
Thank you. Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. Just acknowledging and thanking the many years of service that's sitting in this chambers right now, and the willingness to work together. You all make us look better and make us look good and make us look super prepared, and it takes the team together to make that happen. So thank you for doing that and sharing your craft amongst each other as we continue to grow as a group. So with much appreciation, thank you.
Thank you. I will add, I know all my, Vice Chair Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. Just very briefly, just a sincere thank you to each of the clerks for the work that you do, the hard work, the long hours, the professionalism. It's noticed and very appreciated. Thank you, each and every one of you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Campbell. Councilmember Coover.
Thank you, Chair. At least I get to say I've got over 12 years, over 10 years right now with those who have been here longer than that. And for the others that I have seen come, I just thank you so much for all you do. It's always been amazing. You're always there. I need something, and you're able to figure it out. And always pleasant and professional to work with. And we are grateful. I'm very grateful. I a lot of times need that up that you all give me. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Morrell.
If I don't say anything, they're going to spell my name wrong. I just want to, there again, acknowledge the professionalism and the going above and beyond that the clerks do. Sometimes we don't understand what happens behind the scenes, but you do. You make it work. everything comes out to the good, and we really appreciate all the energy, the effort, the smiles that you do approach your job with. And there again, we just really appreciate the hard work that goes into making this thing work that we call government. Thank you.
Thank you. I will close by continuing to add the sincere gratitude of the county council. Much has been said about how you make us look good. That is so very true. But you really are the workhorses of this office. The council would not be able to communicate with the public, and the public would not be able to know what our work is, if not but for your work, right? You all are responsible for so much in this representative democracy, as Councilmember Morell said. Things get uploaded to the internet because of you. You store things in an orderly way, which I have no idea how. There's so much paper around here. Every email that comes to us on every resolution and ordinance, every supporting document, every finding of fact, all of that gets organized for future reference long into the future. Everything gets documented, everything gets prepared for our review and consideration, every amendment. It is a monumental task, and right, we would not be able to do that consideration without your preparation and your organization. The public would not be able to have access to it in real time and for future reference. And as has been said, there's countless other things that we don't know that you do, that you just do for us and for the public to make government work. And we're very grateful for your skill and your commitment to the work. Whether we notice it or not, whether we know you do it or not, we have appreciation that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we don't have the benefit of knowing, but we know it does happen. So thank you very, very much for your public service. I too am going to ask you to work, Madam Clerk, to help me call the roll on this proclamation that is recognizing Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Please call the roll.
Thank you. Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Groover. Excuse me, Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result, the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the proclamation is adopted. Please help me join in a round of applause. And we'll ask our clerk team to come up here with us and allow us to take a photo with you if you feel comfortable. It's all good. And we'll get a replacement for you, Ms. Johnson. You prepared this. Thank you. Thank you for preparing it. I don't know how many years, but yeah, thanks. I know Brenda had a hand in preparing this. This is your first one.
Never see it. You gonna fold?
Who's taking over?
I'm going to take over, I believe.
Good cheating in there.
Ryan, how much more room do you need? You good?
There goes my badge.
Thank you.
Good one.
Not meant to be on this side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Campbell was doing rabbit ears there as he participates remotely. Ms. Medley, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We have a proposal R 2023-55 in front of us. Councilmember Morel for a motion, please.
Chair, I move for approval proposal number,
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I move for approval proposal number R 2023-55.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt proposal R 2023-55. Madam Clerk, will you please read into the record?
Thank you. Proposal number R 2023-55, a resolution of the Pierce County Council recognizing Secretary Treasurer Patricia Patty Rose for 47 years of exemplary service to the Pierce County Central Labor Council, AFL-CIO, and the community in Pierce County, Washington.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I have the honor of reading this into the record today. Whereas Patty Rose has dedicated 47 years of her work life to improving the lives of fellow workers in Pierce County, starting as a clerk with the Service Employees International Union and a delegate to the Pierce County Central Labor Council, being elected in 1980, and eventually being elected to fill an unexpired term as Secretary Treasurer in July of 2002. And whereas Patty has committed her career to see that all workers have dignity and respect through a living wage, good benefits, earned sick leave, and grievance processes. And whereas when Patty helped establish the A. Philip Randolph chapter in Pierce County, she further extended organized labor's commitment to equity in our community. And whereas Patty diligently worked to find community allies to unite in common cause to better the lives of thousands of families, and whereas through her advocacy to elected officials and the many boards she brought the voice of labor to, including the United Way of Pierce County, the Economic Development Board for Tacoma and Pierce County, and Cascade Regional Blood Services. And whereas Patty's advocacy has reached elected officials, the United Way of Pierce County, Cascade Regional Blood Services, the Economic Development Board, and many, many other boards. And whereas Patty's leadership is an example of dedication to Pierce County and Washington State as a member of the Washington State Labor Council's Executive Board. And whereas Patty's historic time serving as the Pierce County Central Labor Council, AFL-CIO's Secretary Treasurer, has contributed to a better community and a richer life for thousands of working people in our state and across the country. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Pierce County Council that Pierce County honors the many achievements and contributions that Patricia Patty Rose has accomplished throughout her career at the Pierce County Labor Council and the positive impact she has left on countless lives through her service to generations of workers and their families in Pierce County and members of her community. Adopted this 25th day of April 2023. We don't have the benefit of Patty in front of us today. She upon consideration today, we will be presenting this to Patty at a retirement celebration dinner this Saturday evening at the Hotel Murano in downtown Tacoma. So she will not be speaking to receive it today. We'll embarrass her at a dinner this Saturday. So with that, we will open this up for a public hearing. Is there anyone in chambers wishing to provide comment on this proclamation? Not seeing any mispersons, anyone online.
For any member of the public wishing to make public comment, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council. Are there any final remarks by council members? Councilmember Denson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I got to know Patty Rose a number of years ago when I first ran for Gig Harbor City Council, and she's just amazing. She's such a powerhouse. And not only has she created an organization in the Pierce County Central Labor Council that's highly effective, but she's created an organization that truly feels like a family. I love going to those meetings. I love getting to know the folks from all the different unions, all the different locals. She's brought together very diverse groups of people in a way that they all can come together towards a common cause of helping fellow workers, and it's just done in a way that's warm and welcoming, and it's just hard to imagine the Pierce County Central Labor Council without Patty Rose. I know she's built an incredible foundation for an organization that will continue to be successful in the future, but I just wish her the best of luck in retirement. And we've been very fortunate in this county to have the leadership of Patty Rose. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. I too had the chance to meet Patty Rose with a slightly different twist. I was on my labor union as a teacher and actively engaged with that, and really enjoyed working with the Central Labor Council and really collaborating on and learning together and really looking at how we do the work to support our workforce that we were there to support, whichever union you were there to learn about and support the skills that you need to be a rep, to support, to bargain, to do all those things. She would bring coalitions together to help us all learn and get better. And whether you were bargaining for a contract to be able to work in a nursing home or in a classroom or to drive a truck, you were always about the group, the people. How do we make the working conditions better? And so just truly appreciate that she put at the center of her work the idea that I'm going to leave the county better. I'm going to leave your organization better. I'm going to help you get better so that you serve the working families that you are there to support. And I just found that, I think we're going to miss it. I'm hoping she's been training someone. So, but we'll probably hold on to her phone number. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Hitchin. Councilmember Morell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to approach this from a different angle. I've known Ms. Rose for quite a long time, and I come from the opposite side. Being a Republican in public office, not saying that I enjoyed the interviews, but I always knew where Patty stood on issues. I knew her heart. She was a proponent of labor and their cause. Not always my cause, but I think we had a mutual respect for each other. So, you know, from my perspective, I can honor someone who approached her job with a lot of passion, you know, I think that's a good thing. It allows balance within our political spectrum, and so with that, I will be supporting this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Coover.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say I have not met her, but it sounds like I should. So thank you for introducing me to her through this proclamation.
Thank
you,
you.
Chair.
Thank you. In closing, thank you, Council, for taking this up today. The ability to, we've had a number of powerhouse folks that in the last couple of years, we paused and reflected on their immense contributions to Tacoma and Pierce County. You know, Miriam Barnett, the longtime executive director of the Tacoma Pierce County YWCA, Chancellor Johnson, the longtime chancellor of Pierce College, a few others. We've a few powerhouse folks have retired as of late, who have given decades of their life in public service in various ways. And Patty is no different. So that we're pausing to reflect on her 47 years of service is very special. Not only her time leading the Labor Council and representing workers, but in community. We made note in this proclamation her community service on the United Way of Pierce County board, bringing the voice of organized labor to philanthropy and service through the United Way of Pierce County as an example. The voice of labor to economic development decisions at the Economic Development Board, Cascade Blood Regional Services, and many others that we did not list here. You know, one of the many things I've really fond of Patty, I've worked hard with Patty for many, many years on different issues. Yes, she's, you know, the work of the Labor Council is funded by labor unions, and that's who she's elected by and leads. But she always saw her role as making this a better place to work, whether you belong to a labor union or not. Making it a safer place for everyone to work, making it a more dignified place for everyone to work, and raising the standard of living for all working people, whether you're a part of a labor union or not. She really saw that as her charge. And I think she made tremendous strides in raising the quality of life and living conditions for everyone who works for a living. And I'm really, really grateful for her vision in that way and her leadership in that way. And look forward to reading this in person in front of several hundred folks who will be gathered on Saturday night to honor the great career of Patty Rose. With that, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you. Councilmember Morell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Krueger. Aye. Councilmember Denson. Aye. Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchen.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result is 7 ayes.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. Thank you. And a brief a moment of applause there. Thank you. That brings us to Section 8 of our agenda, ordinances. There are none today. So Section 9 is resolutions. We have Proposal R 2023-48. Councilmember Herrera for a motion.
I move Proposal R202348 for approval.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt Proposal R 2023-48. Madam Clerk, will you please read the title into the record?
Thank you. Proposal number R 2023-48, a resolution of the Pierce County Council calling for an election to be held on August 1st, 2023, for the purpose of submitting to the affected voters the determination of whether or not to establish a Sumner Library Capital Facility area to finance a new library in the city of Sumner, describing the boundaries of the area and requesting the prosecuting attorney to prepare an appropriate ballot title.
Thank you. Ms. Long.
Thank you. As stated in the title, the proposal, summary of the proposal is that it would call for an election to be held on August 1st, the primary, to submit to the voters of the proposed capital facility area the determination of whether or not to establish a Sumner Library Capital Facility area to finance a new library in the city of Sumner, and to authorize that library capital facility area to finance the capital facilities by issuing general indebtedness and opposing excess levies to retire the indebtedness. As a little background, so the library service to the residents of the city of Sumner and the residents of the area surrounding the city is provided through a library facility known as the Sumner Library, which is owned by the city and operated by the Pierce County Rural Library District, which does business as the Pierce County Library System. The city owns the building and the land on Friar Avenue, where the current Sumner Library is located, and the library system leases the space in the building. The current building requires some major repairs. It is undersized for the population it serves. It's difficult to access, and the library system has determined that it cannot continue to operate in the current facility. So both the city and the library system are collaborating to build a new library on Main Street, and have determined that the cost of developing a new library to replace the existing Sumner Library can most fairly be paid by those residents of the area to be served by the new Sumner Library through the establishment of a capital facility area, which would issue bonds to finance the construction, furnishing, and equipping of the new Sumner Library. State law at Chapter 2715 permits the creation of a library capital facility area to construct, acquire, maintain, and remodel library capital facilities upon the request of the Pierce County Library System and the approval of the city. So upon the receipt of the request to establish the library district and a request to submit the ballot measure, and to finance the library capital facilities, the county legislative authority must submit the ballot measure on that proposition to the voters. The ballot measure must be approved by a supermajority vote as defined in RCW 2715-020. The proposed boundaries of the Sumner Library Capital Facility area are the corporate boundaries of the city of Sumner. You'll see a map and the legal description in Exhibits A and B to your resolution. The governing body of the proposed Library Capital Facility area will be 3 members of the Pierce County Council selected by the council itself, and that's also a requirement of state law. The cost of the election will be borne by the Pierce County Library System, so there is no fiscal impact to Pierce County. The city has adopted its resolution 1655 on March 6th, approving the creation of the Sumner Library Capital Facility area, and the Pierce County Library System adopted its resolution 2023-04 on March 8th, approving the creation of the Library Capital Facility District and making the request to place it on the ballot to the county council. So contained in your packets, in addition to the map and legal description, you'll find the library system's request for the establishment of the district. And that also, with the attachments are also the resolutions that I previously mentioned with maps and legal descriptions. So there might be a little duplication there, in case you were wondering. There's also a helpful, I'd call it a Library Capital Facility Area 101, one-page document. I believe it's prepared by the library district's legal advisor. That's helpful to answer some basic questions about the development of this. And this was, if you recall, heard in a study session on April 3rd of this year, presented by the library district. And there's a PowerPoint on that as well. And then this was heard in Rules and Operations on April 17th, and it received a due pass recommendation. And I hope I can answer any questions, and library district folks could as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Long. Are there any questions for Ms. Long or any of our guests here from the library board or library district? Councilmember Morrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And maybe I don't know if Ms. Long can answer this one. Is there any existing bonds that are out on the current library, or is there any tax measure on the current library?
Ms. Keserati?
Not sure what the formality is. Chair Mello, Councilmember Morrell, the library district has resolved all debts and has no debt at this time.
Okay, so there's no debt. So the new bonds will be issued, and the bonds will be prorated depending on the value of the property. How do you go about that?
Correct. So our estimations for household impact are done on the 22 assessments in this year. So if the measure passed, when we would actually run the assessments would be likely on the 23 assessments in next year. So they would roll according to the assessed value.
Okay.
Whenever the actual mechanical, technical details would fall on the calendar.
Okay. And just for reassurance of those within those, the Sumner Library Capital Facility area, there will be a robust communication with the community to what is expected, both in what you're going to build for the community plus the taxes that'll be paid, and that is both residential, commercial, and industrial property, because Sumner has got quite an industrial tax base. So as I commented before, a lot of those are not corporations that are in the area, so I just don't want any, get my tax statement and go, what the heck is this? So just want to make sure that communication is robust and broad as far as this goes. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment. And at the moment, my awareness of the materials prepared thus far are on residential, so I will make sure to bring that back. We know that after that last meeting, we've initiated contact, and we're intending to present at chamber meetings. I've got individual meetings queued up, so I'll make sure that we pull some of those as well, based on the difference between commercial and residential But it's the same levy rate, so it can be applied to whatever someone's situation is for what property they own.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions before we open this up for a public hearing? Not seeing any. Is there anyone in chambers wishing to provide comment to council on this resolution?
May I
Please
stay
come
here
forward
for a
and
moment, since I'm
state your
here?
name for the record.
Gretchen Casserati, Executive Director of the Pierce County Library System. I'm grateful to have an opportunity to just say thank you to the staff. The staff have been absolutely incredible to work with across multiple departments, coordinating a lot of new material for all of us, and the communication with everyone has been really excellent. And I really appreciate everyone helping to keep this moving forward. That's been a charge for me coming into my role, is to make things happen. And so I really appreciate the spirit of collaboration and the attention to detail and great communication. And I just want to commend elections, assessors, attorney, council staff. Everybody has been just really terrific. So I want to take a moment to appreciate them. Thank you.
Thank you. And could you just state your name for the record?
Gretchen Casserati.
Thank you. Just make sure, I don't want to get the clerks upset with us.
Not today.
Since it's
especially.
municipal clerks, yeah, today. Thank you, Ms. Casserati. Anyone else in chambers? Seeing none, Ms. Persons, anyone online?
For any member of the public wishing to make public comment, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad.
Seeing no other hands, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Final remarks by council members. Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm glad that this has finally come out. I mean, just for everybody out there in the county, that this just didn't pop up now. Like you said, there's been a lot of work, a lot of discussions on this. This is the right fit, a lot of work, and I really appreciate all the work. And, you know, I believe as a society it's important to have public participation and input in the decision-making process for this, and that includes, you know, levies or taxes or anything like that. And I think this is the right thing to do, to let the people decide if they want to have this. So we're handing it off to them, and I support this, and I encourage its adoption. So, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. I love libraries, and I know when you have a great facility, it really brings community together. And so I appreciate the work of Sumner to really look at how can we do this to bring this together and put it before the people and go, yes or no, we want to make this investment. And so I'm trying to walk a fine line, but thanks for doing the work to make sure it actually happens, to get it on the ballot. And then I'm hoping to be at a groundbreaking. I'll just be blunt. Please don't. I hope I'm not in trouble. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Hitchin. Vice Chair Campbell.
The rules around that.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you everyone who's put work into this. It is so refreshing at a time when we watch the national news and see states that are defunding their library systems and others who are working to reduce access to libraries and reading materials across this nation, that we are stepping up in our communities and putting to a vote of the people the opportunity to expand our library systems. Again, our library system was established by many of our founding fathers because they understood that the knowledge and the ability to go to a library and find the information that you need, to find the stories that build our communities, reside in our libraries. And so I'm very happy and proud to see us putting this forward and to making these investments in our future, the future of knowledge for all of our communities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Not seeing any other hands. Want to also acknowledge the leadership of the city of Sumner, who's, I know, played an integral part of this and has requested this for their community, our community. Thank you, Mayor Hagan, City Administrator, and your colleagues. Thank you for your leadership and the leadership of the library board and library senior leadership. These all take a lot of effort to dream, and we have big plans for the city of Sumner. So a lot of effort to get to this point, and as has been said, we'll soon be handing it off to the voters to see if this is how they want to invest. But so much happens at libraries, as has been said, from knowledge to coming together to learn in so many different ways. People find employment through the resources at libraries and socialize together and do their taxes and get other access to community resources. It really is a community hub when done right, and every community deserves a great place like this to gather and to learn. So with that, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on R 2023-48?
Thank you. Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger. Aye. Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morel.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result is 7 ayes.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, Resolution 2023-48 is adopted. Ms. Long, would the motion for the next item be to postpone indefinitely, or do we need to put it on the table first with a motion for consideration?
The motion out of the chute could be to postpone indefinitely Proposal R 2023-49.
Thank you. Councilmember Herrera for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I move proposal number R 2023-49 to be tabled.
Postponed indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone indefinitely Resolution 2023-49. Do I need to have the clerk read this into the record?
No, you don't. And it could be a voice vote as well.
It could be a voice vote. Could I first ask you, Ms. Long, why this motion is in order?
Right, absolutely. So in coordination with the library system, it was determined that a rural library district can constitute both the governmental unit that places a measure, not that places, but that has a measure on the ballot to be placed by the council. And it can also be considered or as defined as the legislative authority of the jurisdiction that is authorized to make the appointments of the for and against committees. And so the library system had already begun its process for outreach and letting people know that this is there and seeking volunteers for the committees. And so I think in recognition of their authority to do so and make the appointments, the resolution before you is not needed.
So the library district will be handling this task. They have the authority under state statute to do that. They're the more appropriate body to do that. We've done our job to place the measure on the ballot. And so that's what we would expect is the library district to appoint the for and against committee and submit that to the county auditor by the deadline.
Correct.
Are there any final remarks by council members? We will take a voice vote on the motion to postpone indefinitely R 2023-49. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion is adopted. We're going to reorder the agenda to bring Section 11, Citizens Forum, now, because the council will be moving into an executive session at the conclusion of Citizens Forum. So is there anyone, this is a time for any community member to address the council on any matter that the county has jurisdiction over. You have 3 minutes to make your comments. Anyone in chambers wishing to provide comment during Citizens Forum? Not seeing any missed persons. Anyone online?
For any member of the public wishing to make comment, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. No hands.
No hands. We'll close Citizens Forum, bring it back to council. We are under other business and announcements. Before we move to the executive session, are there any other business or announcements by council members? I would just note that today is a special election day. So if you happen to live in the city of DuPont, you have Proposition 1 on your ballot for renewal of a 6-year emergency medical services levy. If you live within the city of University Place, there's Proposition 1, which is a levy lidlift, which would be dedicated funding for law enforcement. If you live within the confines of the Steilacoom Historical School District, number 1, Proposition 1 is on your ballot for general obligation bonds for school facilities. And if you live in the confines of the Ording School District, there's Proposition number 1 for general obligation bonds to help support school facilities in the Ording School District. And you have until 8 p.m. to postmark your ballot or get it into a drop box near you. Ms. Long, is there any other business before we get to the executive session?
Not today, thank you.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. I was wondering if Vice Chair Campbell wanted to remind people about his in-district.
Thank you. Vice Chair Campbell, we have your in-district happening later this week.
We do, happening Thursday night at Fife, or in Fife, I should say, at the Fife City Hall. They will be welcoming us, and we will be there, I believe, 6 p.m. Thursday, and we will be having presentations from the Emergency Food Network and Pierce County Human Services on the state of food insecurity in Pierce County.
Thank you, Vice Chair Campbell. We look forward to that. And you don't have to live in Fife. You don't even have to live in District 5 to come to the in-district meeting. It's a really interesting set of presentations set up. So all are welcome. Of course, it is physically in District 5, and that's where it's focused, but all are welcome. Ms. Long, we have an executive session in front of us. Could you brief council on the purpose, please?
Yes, thank you. So this is an executive session authorized by RCW 4230-110-1I. The purpose is to discuss with legal counsel matters of pending or potential litigation to which the county is or may become a party, and to which public knowledge of the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the county. The time, as recommended, I'm hearing 15 minutes.
15 minutes. So we'll start at 4:10. We will have to do this over Zoom because of the other participants in the conference. So we'll start at 4:10. That'll bring us to 4:25. We anticipate adjournment at 4:25, so we'll be back at 4:25, and we'll stand in recess until 4:25.
Thank you.
Thank you. The time is 4:27 p.m. The council needs another 15 minutes, another 15 minutes in executive session. So we'll remain in recess for the purposes of executive session and plan to be back at approximately 4:43 p.m. 4:43 p.m. Thank you. Thank you. The time is 4:45 p.m. The council remains in executive session and needs 10 more minutes to be in executive session. So we'll be back from recess at 4:55 p.m. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. The time is 4:57 p.m. Seeing no other business before the Pierce County Council, we are adjourned.